fellow Star Wars nerds, and welcome to Unlimited Content, the podcast where two brothers talk about all of Star Wars film and TV in chronological order on the internet as an excuse to hang out more. We're your hosts, Sam and Jack, and this week we're talking about Tales of the Jedi, Episode 5, Practice Makes Perfect. Jack Ford, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Sam?
I'm well. I am well.
It's good to see your face and hear your voice and other such things.
Likewise. What's going on in Jack Ford land?
Not a whole lot. Just kind of work and therapy, and those two things alone kind of take up most of my brain space. So,
I get it.
Yeah, and then the remainder is taken up by Zelda. So,
dude, same. I am spending an irresponsible amount of time playing this game. Don't tell my loved ones that I'm doing that.
Okay, I won't tell them, and I also won't tell them to listen to our podcast that we put on the internet.
Sorry, this is coming out a month more or less after we recorded, so who cares?
Yeah. I'm a couple episodes behind on editing these and putting them out. I've just been busy with other things, but I'm gonna start getting those out again soon. But it's honestly kind of a good thing because this month we're only gonna be able to record twice.
That's true.
Because 1 week I am out of town. I'm going to our little brother's graduation. I'm very excited about that.
I wish I could go.
And then another week you are traveling for something else.
Yep, I have a work trip. Yep. So I will be out of town, and then you will be out of town, or the other way around, something. But yeah, so
One of those. Yeah. So hopefully we'll still have we'll end up having a steady stream of content regardless, because we've got a little bit of an episode backlog right now.
We do.
So it works out.
Indeed, It does.
All right. Well, we do have a sponsor today.
We do?
Yes.
Oh, boy.
So, yeah, we got a little message from our sponsor. Our sponsor says, "Are your archives incomplete? Visit Jocasta News Book Emporium. From popular bestsellers to the rarest collectibles. If we don't have it, it doesn't exist."
If we don't have it, it doesn't exist.
I like that one. I was proud of that one.
Good.
I was proud of that ad read that I wrote for our real sponsor.
That is a real sponsor. Come on. Jocasta is a real person.
What is it that we pay for here? What are our expenses on this podcast, Sam?
Our valuable time.
That's true.
And you mailed me an old microphone. That was an expense.
That's true. Yeah, it was like $17 or something.
Yeah.
Ship.
I am using Canva Pro that I get from work on the laptop that I get from work. So those are expenses as real as our sponsors are.
Those are free expenses.
As much as our free sponsors are. Yeah.
Yeah. But our sponsors are paying us well relative to the amount of money that we spend on this show.
Indeed.
So.
Oh, goodness.
All right.
Dude, Tears of the Kingdom. How's it going?
So for like a week or so was kind of like at the end game basically. It was kind of just biding my time and doing some extra exploring and doing other side quests until eventually I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to actually go to the end of this. Because I always, whenever there's a big game and there's like you're close to the end, it's like, I always struggle with figuring out like, okay, how much of this do I want to do before going to like the final boss? Because I know that like it's difficult to be like, because like in Breath of the Wild, if you got everything and did everything before going to fight Ganon, it's like it's a walk in the park. There's no like,
oh yeah
there's no challenge to it, and
no.
So it feels kind of anticlimactic that way. But then if you like don't do enough stuff, it feels like oh, the game's over, but there's still so much I haven't done, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So like,
right. I mean, if it's anything like Breath of the Wild, it kind of just like you beat the final boss, and then it kind of just spits you back out to right before you beat the final boss, and then you can just kind of go do things again. So I'm assuming that's how Tears of the Kingdom is going to do.
It does, because I was going to say I did finish it, or quote unquote finished it. A couple nights ago decided, okay, I'm gonna go do the thing. I'm gonna fight the thing, and I did, and I thought the end of the game was very good. It was super cool.
Nice.
I won't say any more than that.
Okay.
But yeah, but I've still got like I say quote unquote finished because obviously this is not a game that most people will actually complete because just of the massive amount of content in it, but also because like I'm going to continue playing this for a while, even if I don't like actually 100% it. I still like there are massive swaths of the game world that I haven't discovered or that I haven't like explored fully yet.
Oh yeah.
So I imagine I'll continue to get stuff out of this for a while. It's overall great, amazing game. Really well done.
I would wager to guess I'm about 2/3 of the way through the game. Is my guess, at least through the main story mode.
Yeah.
Spoiler, if you let's just it. By the time this releases, the game will have been out for like a month or two, at least. The game's already been out for a month.
Yeah.
So by the time this releases, we'll be closer to 2 months. But so spoiler alert for we're just gonna talk about it because it's been enough time, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
we'll talk about everything up to where
I am. Yes.
Yeah.
So I have beaten Phantom Ganon in Hyrule Castle, and I just found Minoru. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Yeah. So I just found her and built the whole like little Gundam suit thing that she has. Like her spiritual
so cool.
Her spiritual Gundam suit.
You get a mech in this game.
It's crazy.
You get to ride around on a mech.
So I got to the boss battle for that and realized that I wasn't exactly expecting a boss battle, and so I didn't have any food in my inventory. And so I tried it once, did not do very well, left, and now I'm off just like mining for food and more heart containers and other sorts of outfits so that I can like not die as fast. So that's what I've been doing.
Exploring the depths a lot to find like there's a lot of like cool outfit pieces and things you can find in the depths. But yeah, so you've gotten all of the all 4 of the main dungeons as well.
Yes,
the 4 stages. Yeah,
okay. The 4 stages.
You're pretty far in. There's not a ton left in terms of like main quest line story.
That's kind of what I figured. I kind of figured it was like you find the 5th stage, and then after that, it's like you fight Ganon for real. Is what I assume. Maybe some more stuff in the middle.
Yeah,
but basically, yeah,
you're getting close. Yeah,
cool. And but, I don't know if there was like supposed to be like a whole like quest line to find Minoru, but I just like started going up to Sky Islands and flying to things that I hadn't been to before, and I was like, oh, that's a thunderstorm, and there's like a thing in there, so I just kind of dropped in, and I don't know if there was like a whole like maze or thing that I was supposed to like, because I like looked down and like, oh, there's like a bunch of islands leading up to where I am, and I just like dropped in on the island where it just like you get the mask and it like the laser points you to where you're going. So I just like dropped in right there. So
okay, yeah. So I wanted to talk about that part because a couple things. One is yes, there is a way to like. There's kind of a quote unquote more like proper way of doing that quest, like in the intended way.
Yeah.
Which is that basically you talk to some of the researchers and you end up in the jungles below where that is, and there's like a bunch of puzzles you do, and then once you finish that, it's like basically gets rid of the storm so that it's like. So all of those islands are like not shrouded in fog and storm and stuff anymore. I didn't know that. I also like I was looking at the map in the sky and I was like, there's a big storm over there. Something's got to be in there, right? So I go over there.
I'm just gonna go into the storm and see what happens.
Yes, exactly.
Just not wear any metal and just hope that I won't die.
Yeah. And so I go into the storm.
I found a Va Naboris mask, which is like has like lightning proof stuff. So I was like, I'll just wear this and hope I don't die, and I didn't. So here we go.
Yes. So when you said that you like landed on whatever the top island was of those series of islands.
Yeah.
Basically. So I didn't. I landed on like the bottom.
Oh no.
So I went
Did
through
that whole thing in the storm?
Yes. Where you can only see like a meter in front of you in any direction. The only like other kind of hint you have is there were 2 things I did to help me get through that. One is that like every so often, like every several seconds, there'll be a lightning strike and it kind of illuminates the silhouettes of all the islands, and so you can kind of see. And so I used that to kind of get an idea of where I was, and also I had my Sheikah sensor set to treasure chests. Because there, you know, there are treasure chests all over the islands, I guess, and I just kind of went from treasure chest to treasure chest and ended up kind of making my way up to the top of these islands.
That's brilliant. I have not upgraded my Sheikah sensor yet, so all it does is just find the shrines. But that's smart. I like that. See, what I was trying to do is I was trying to get on. So I finished all of I found all the tiers on the ground with all like the geoglyphs. So I did that.
Yes.
And the light dragon flew up, and I was just trying to get to the light dragon because I feel like that's where the master sword is, because I think I'm right on that one. Like I think the master sword is embedded in the forehead of the dragon. I think I've seen it, so I'm trying for it. Don't spoil it if I'm wrong. But so I was just trying to I was just following the dragon around, because I know it just takes laps around Hyrule. So I was just going from island to island, and then I get over, I guess it's Farron is the area, and I was like, oh, thunderstorm. Yoink, let's zip over there, see if I can get a better vantage point, and then it just unlocked a quest. I was like, oh, this is a main adventure. I think I stumbled upon what I was supposed to be doing this whole time. Oops.
Yeah, exactly. I love that, the fact that you can just stumble upon a made that was one of my favorite moments of playing this game, is stumbling upon another dungeon that I didn't know existed, a main quest that I was I was just exploring and I found it. And also the fact that I got through it a way that I wasn't supposed to be able to get through it, because it's it was not easy. It didn't feel like I was supposed to be doing it that way necessarily, but I was determined to do it. And part of me was oh, maybe this is a special challenge where it's you're supposed to figure out how to navigate through basically not being able to see anything. But no, I just did it on hard mode by accident, and it was delightful. It was so cool. So that was awesome. But the fact that you managed to just land on the top,
I don't know how I did it.
That's incredible.
I don't know what I was on. Because I built a hover bike thing. It was just flying around on a hover bike. That's what I was doing. So it was and it was just I could just if I turned pulled off the gas but just kept it running, it would just go straight up. So it's just I'm just gonna go up as high as I can, and then just get some Zonai charges and not run out of battery, because I only have 3 batteries. So it's just constantly just turn it off, let it hover, turn it back on, let's go, keep going up, turn it off, let it hover, keep going. So I was just doing that, so I wouldn't fall to my death.
Was it one of those was it the kind of brick thing that stays in place, or is it?
No, it was, what was it? No, it was just a square metal thing that fell on the ground. Hover? Maybe I don't remember.
It's okay.
It was really late at night.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, it's I love all the different machines you can build in this. I don't know how much underground exploring you've done. Okay, but yeah, so have you gotten some of the the schematics for things that you can get underground from the Yiga?
Yes, I love the Yiga clan is so much more fun in this game than it was in Breath of the Wild.
Yes, I like the Yiga clan in the first game, but it's
they're Muppet villains.
Yes, it's a clan of people who are just making silly death machines, and they're very bad at being evil. And it's great. Oh, I love it. I kind of want to do a Master Koga cosplay at one point.
That'd be
super fun.
Awesome.
And just carry around a bunch of bananas with me everywhere.
You just get distracted if someone throws a bunch of bananas, just very comically tiptoe over to the to the bananas.
Aha! I've got you right where I wanted you, you fool. Amazing.
Yes.
Have you gotten all the memories, like the tiers?
Yeah, I did all the tiers.
Memories. Okay.
Yeah, because that's how you activate the light dragon.
Yeah. Right. So I think actually the light dragon is still around. You can theoretically go to it at any point in the game, but
I did all of the geoglyphs.
Yes.
So I did that whole quest line. So I don't know if there are more memories that I haven't gotten yet, but I did all of the big ol' crop circle things.
Yeah. So you know the thing about the dragon, then?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That was very sad.
I know, right?
It's very, very sad.
We will not get into more detail than that. just for this. That's like a major spoiler.
That's a very spoilery spoiler.
But yeah, so Zelda, great, loving it. Looking forward to continuing to. I want to find all the. I think what I'm looking forward to the most is finding more outfits and like outfit sets, because you can find like a bunch of basically all of the there were a bunch of outfits you could get in Breath of the Wild that a bunch of them were exclusive to amiibos. Like you had to scan an amiibo to get it, and now those are just like out in the world somewhere, and you get them by like completing challenges. Like there's a boss or something, or you find it. Yeah, and a lot of them are like artifacts from past Zelda games. Like I got a Midna's helmet from Twilight Princess, which is great. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to finding all those. I want to find all those things. Yeah, and also completely upgrading my house. Which, by the way, do you have a house yet?
No, I didn't even realize that was a thing. Is it in Terrytown or is it?
Yes, go to Terrytown.
Okay, got it.
I won't say more than that, but it's great.
Cool. Yeah, I've only done a little bit around in Terrytown. I haven't done a whole lot just because I found Terrytown like right at the beginning of like playing the game. I was like, oh, this is cool, but I want to do other things, so I went and did other things. Yeah. Sure. Yep. And that has been Unlimited Zelda content with Sam and Jack.
Welcome back to our recurring sub-segment, our sub-podcast, Unlimited Zelda.
Yes.
All right, anyway. Anything else you've been up to lately, Sam? No? Okay.
Just work
I've got one other thing
being
to
a
talk
parent.
about.
And then, cool.
So the other day I saw Across the Spider-Verse.
Ooh, I want to see it so bad.
Yes. So, for those of you that might not know, this is a sequel to the movie that came out a few years ago, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. This one is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and it is an animated Spider-Man film with a bunch of different spider people from across the multiverse, and it's very...
The Spider-Verse.
The Spider-Verse. Of the titular Spider-Verse. It's great. I really liked the first movie. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, and I love like unique, creative, beautiful animation, which these movies have in spades. And and so then the sequel came out, and suffice it to say, it is amazing. It's incredible. I think it is. Yes, I think it is better than the first one to me.
Whoa,
I think, like, okay. I had my issues with the first one. Like, for the most part, I thought it was great. I just had some I felt like there wasn't enough character development in some areas, and just I don't know. It didn't. Parts of it didn't land super well for me, like plot wise or character wise. But beyond that, it's in the first one. But beyond that, I thought it was amazing. This one, I think they really. They fixed the sort of issues that I had with the first movie, and they really go me all in on character and character motivation and seeing people go through like their struggles, and they have solid arcs to them, and it's all very well written and very well animated, and like I think this is one of the most beautiful movies I've ever seen visually. It is probably the most visually inventive movie I've ever seen, just with the sheer amount of creativity and the number of different sort of artistic styles that are blended together. And the animation's great, the soundtrack is great, the performances are great. It's excellent and amazing. And I said that all of that in spite of the fact that this is not a spoiler, but I think it's something that you need to know going into this movie, because I was frustrated by it, which is that this movie is actually a part one. This is not a full movie on its own. It ends on a to be continued, and there's going to be a third movie. But so this is basically the first half.
So it's an Infinity War situation.
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It very much ends on a cliffhanger, and there's a bunch of things that don't get fully resolved, which going in not knowing that, and then like the movie ending where it did, I was angry. I was like mad, because it was such a mad, not because it was bad, but mad because it was so good and I wanted more of it, and I didn't expect to not be able to get these story arcs completed,
Yeah. Because the movie itself was so satisfying that you were expecting a satisfying resolution to the story.
Exactly.
And then you didn't get that.
Yeah. So I would say that this is one of my favorite movies. Well, of the movies that I've seen this year, this is definitely my favorite movie that I've seen this year. I would say it's one of my favorite movies ever, despite the fact that it is half a movie.
Wow. That's high praise.
I was astonished at this movie.
Like, you don't throw out compliments like that willy-nilly. Like, that is okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm generally pretty positive on movies. Like, I keep track of movies that I watch in Letterboxd, which is a social site for people who watch movies, and you can journal basically all the movies you watch. And I tend to rate everything like a 7 out of 10 or higher, basically. Like, sure. I mean, part of that is just because I probably just don't watch movies that I don't think I'll like, and so it's rare that I end.
It's funny. I do the same thing with the Untapped app, which is basically Letterboxd for beer, and I usually don't rate anything below a 3.5 unless I think I'm gonna like it and it's trash. So it's hilarious because that's like literally the same, like 3.5 out of 5, 7 out of 10. It's the same. So that's hilarious that you and I are the same in that way.
Yeah. It is weird that like we have this sort of like, the bell curve of the way that we rate things is very pushed towards positive because we consume stuff that we like generally. Yeah. Or that we're pretty sure we'll like. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think I'm generally pretty positive on things, but I it's been a long while since I've watched a movie that I loved this much. Yeah. So definitely 100% recommend it. Just, I think that this would have been like a 10 out of 10 movie for me if I had known going in that it was a part 1, but this is like this is like the first half of one of the best movies ever made to me is what it feels like. So anyway, very excited about the sequel. Very sad that we're gonna have to wait another couple years or whatever to get it.
Oh dang! But really?
I mean, that's how long animated movies take. So, and I assume that they're not like.
But like, I don't know if they were like, if it's a part 1, part 2. Maybe I thought maybe they're doing them in tandem or something. That's
possible. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't looked into it, so maybe.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Still, I'm sad that I'll have to wait any amount of time.
For sure.
But luckily, this is a movie that I think is it's so just entertaining, but be so packed with details that I will definitely be able to watch it multiple times between now and then and get plenty more out of it. So
love that.
Yeah. Anyway, go see Spider-Verse. It's incredible.
Okay, I will. I will do it. I don't know when, but I'm gonna do it. Yeah, dude. I was gonna ask you something. Yeah. Oh, dude, this movie's like this summer is like I feel like the first like real like summer of blockbuster movies again, like since COVID. Like we're getting a lot of good movies. Like I've been really excited about Oppenheimer. That looks so stinking good. And also, ironically, Barbie looks really good. Yeah.
Yes. It looks amazing. Barbie looks amazing.
It looks nuts.
It's so it's Greta Gerwig, who's a very like she's a successful sort of like she's a filmmaker known for doing kind of more artsy stuff. And this is kind of her first big commercial movie as far as I'm aware. Wait, no, she did Little Women, I think. So that was kind of her last big one.
Yeah. I saw that. I really liked that one.
Yeah, Little Women was really good. With Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saoirse.
It's
a good name.
Indeed. I agree. Yeah, but yeah, this is a departure for her, but I love the fact that like we're giving such a sort of more kind of artsy / prestige filmmaker this like weird IP, like very like commercial popular IP, and like choose to make a movie out of it. And it like based on all the trailers and everything, it looks super fun and like self-aware and smart, and it's giving me Lego Movie vibes. In that like it's like the Lego Movie blew me away because of how like despite the fact that it is like 100% a very commercial endeavor because it's an ad for toys, it is still an astonishingly creative, beautiful, really funny, entertaining movie. Like that's one of my favorite movies, like no joke. And I think the fact that
Will Ferrell is the villain in both Lego Movie and Barbie.
Yes, I did see that. I think there are theories that they're like it's the same character. I mean, they're probably not because like Hasbro and Lego are not related, but like I love the fact that they basically got Will Ferrell to be Lord Business again, President Lord Business or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Oppenheimer and Barbie I believe are coming out the same day.
They are.
So people are very excited for this insane double feature.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of videos like inside of you are two wolves, and one is the Barbie poster, and one's the Oppenheimer poster.
Yeah. I saw somebody else, one of my friends posted something on Instagram that was like, it was, I guess from an older, like, movie that had Oppenheimer in it. And of course the famous quote is, I am become death, destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
But they changed it to say, I am become Barbie girl in a Barbie world. I was like, no, that's good. It's great.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what other movies are coming out this summer other than those two. Like, I'm definitely excited for both of those.
There's like a 40th Mission Impossible movie coming out.
Yes, that's the other one I wanted to say. So speaking of part ones, this is another.
Is it really a part one?
Yeah, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1 is the name of the movie, and the Mission Impossible movies like 4, 5, and 6 are some of my favorite movies ever. I love them. They're so well done. They're so thrilling. They're so like it's not so kind of, it's like popcorn action fun, but done in like the best possible way.
Sure.
It's just the action sequences are so good, and the stories are just fun and silly, and I love this sort of like, sci-fi spy action stuff, and it's just I love those movies. They make me, they're like the most like fist pumping movies.
Oh yeah.
Like, yes, I love these.
Yeah. I feel like I've seen most of those. I think Mission Impossible 3 was the first PG-13 movie I ever saw in theaters.
Oh,
I think. Unless Revenge of the Sith came out before that. They both came out around this. They both came out when I was in middle school. So like I don't remember exactly, but I just remember that was like
3 was a little later.
Okay.
I think yeah.
They're
both threes. Now that I think of
they are, yeah. But I just remember that was like one of the first like big blockbuster action movies I ever saw in theaters, and just like it blew my friggin' mind as like a 12-year-old. Like this is stinking awesome. Like so Mission Impossible looks fun.
That's a good movie.
I do remember, like, I read something a couple days ago that Mission Impossible 27 Part 1, whatever number it is, it comes out like a week before Oppenheimer or something. And so Oppenheimer, they have booked out every single IMAX screen in the country for 3 weeks for this movie. Like, every single IMAX theater is only going to be showing Oppenheimer for 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And Tom Cruise was pissed that that Mission Impossible is only going to get a week in IMAX theaters. Apparently he blew up at the executives, but like, what's done is done. Like, Oppenheimer's getting the IMAX treatment. But I don't know why it's exclusively. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that's what the article said. And it was on the internet, so it must be true. But I don't know. Yeah. But then, did you see? I sent you that thing where it was the IMAX reel for the 70 millimeter Oppenheimer. Like, the film itself is 11 miles long. Like, they just stretched it out. It's 11 miles, and it weighs 600 pounds. That's insane.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, like that's for IMAX films. That's how, when it's actual film reel, that's how big they have. I mean, I think that's probably bigger than normal.
Because it's a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, so it would be bigger than normal then. Yeah, that's nuts. Fun fact, IMAX film reels, because they're so big, so usually when you have like a film reel, usually it's standing vertically and rotating that way. But for IMAX films, they're so big and heavy that they have to do it sideways. So IMAX reels are just like lie flat on a big like spinning plate, essentially.
Wow.
Because of that, the frames are tilted 90 degrees.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. That's cool.
Yeah. So.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah. Mission Impossible 3 also was J.J. Abrams' first movie. His directorial debut in cinema. So
that's fun.
The more you know.
Good old JJ. Should have stuck with
Star Wars connection.
Should have stuck with Star Trek. But alas.
Yeah. Man, Star Trek 2009 is still such a great movie.
Oh my gosh, that was one of that's so because we grew up on Star Trek. Like, our dad, huge Trekkie. His parents, huge Trekkies, especially his mom. And so we grew up having Star Trek night at our house. We're like, I think it was every Thursday night we watched newest episode of like whether it was Voyager or Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Enterprise. And our dad would record it like on a VHS, and we'd watch it and then like eat out of the like we'd always get like the big brown popcorn bowl and like sit and watch. Like it was. Those are some of my favorite memories growing up. Is Star Trek night at the house.
Yeah,
love it.
I remember. Yeah, Star Trek night was always fun because it was like I as a kid I feel like I was too young to really appreciate most Star Trek stuff.
Sure,
it was just like I don't know. There was a lot of adults walking around hallways and talking about things I didn't understand.
Yes,
but it was nice to be able to like just have an occasion to get to just be on the couch and hang out and eat popcorn.
It was great.
Yeah, and then when Star Trek 2009 came out, that was the first time I had seen like a Star Wars thing a Star Trek thing that I really loved. I was like, oh, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, Star Trek 2009 is very different from most of the other Star Trek. It's less kind of cerebral and talky and more actiony. But it was still like it was a gateway for me into kind of that world, into like actually appreciating it. For what it was. And now as an adult, I've watched all of Next Generation and love that. It's one of my favorite shows.
It's so good.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was like, what the other thing is about Star Trek night is that it was really easy to fall asleep on the couch because of the sounds of Star Trek are very, it's just like, there's this constant white noise in the background. Yeah. Of like, the sort of the sounds of like, the engine room or whatever, like just kind of
just the shit sounds. Going through space, just kind of like it makes a dull kind of hum.
It's a low rumble. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Gosh. Star Trek.
So good.
Yep. Yeah. Stay tuned for our spin-off podcast where we talk about Star Trek.
Yep. Oh man. Yeah. Final Frontier, something like that. But dude, the music in the 2009 Star Trek movie, some of the best movie music that's not Star Wars ever. Michael Giacchino knocks it out of the park.
Oh boy.
We had it was my junior year of high school, our marching band, we did Star Trek like that, like all the music from the Star Trek movie was our like marching show. I think it was the year, I think it was the fall after it came out. So it'd been out for a year. And it was so good. That's still like I still hum that in my head every once in a while. Like I remember like my tenor sax part to all this stuff. It was so much fun. So much fun. Gosh, we're nerds. Let's talk about something less nerdy like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talk about we're jocks.
Video games. We talk
about Star Wars.
Yeah, come on. Dude, is there anything new and upcoming in the world of Star Wars that you know of?
Well, let's see. Obviously, Ahsoka's coming out pretty soon. We got a couple new kind of images from Ahsoka that came out. There was I think Empire magazine had like their cover is Ahsoka, and they had a whole story about that. And one of the images released was of an Inquisitor.
Yeah,
Ahsoka. So that's interesting.
Any theories on who that Inquisitor is?
I don't know. I feel like it's probably not going to be. I don't think it's going to be an Inquisitor that we like have already met or a character we've already met, because I think generally, so far, all of the Inquisitors that like they haven't really reused any Inquisitors except for the Grand Inquisitor that they reused in Obi-Wan, right? And he's dead, so it's probably not him. But there's also the question of like, because Ahsoka like is supposed to take place in the era post Return of the Jedi, so are there still Inquisitors? So right. So like the question is this like, have the Inquisitors survived somehow, or is there like or is this like a flashback? Is there like does the show take place simultaneously in the past and the present? That
would be cool.
Just like kind of go back and forth like Boba Fett did a little bit.
And if so, will we get live action Anakin and Ahsoka?
I would obviously I would love that. I would love that so much. Yeah. Or
get the big three from Clone Wars. I think Rex is supposed to make an appearance in Ahsoka.
Yes, I think that they officially announced that Tamora Morrison's going to be in the show as Rex, which is live action Rex.
So exciting. Other than Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, other than our semi-confirmed fan theory headcanon about that one guy.
I think it's a step above headcanon. I don't know if it's like capital C canon.
It's semi-confirmed. It's like
it's somewhere between
to
canon and headcanon.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. Ahsoka's coming out pretty soon. Excited for that. Excited to see what happens there. But there was so I follow Ashley Eckstein on Instagram, who's the voice of Ahsoka in all animated things and originator of the character. And she posted something about how she got to finally go visit the set of Ahsoka and like see Rosario Dawson in costume as Ahsoka, and they got to kind of commiserate and bond over things, and it's real sweet, to hear about that, and because like Ashley Eckstein is such like from everything that I've seen of her on like social media and on like videos of panels she's been on for conventions and stuff, she seems just like such a nice positive person, and she really like has embraced the Star Wars community and like tries her best to be a positive force in it, and it's
she seems like the most aggressively wholesome person in like the Star Wars community.
Exactly. Yeah. And I feel for her a little bit in that like I think maybe she spoke a little bit about like when they first cast Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka, like her kind of feeling a little like, oh, this character isn't like fully mine anymore, or like maybe she had dreamed of being able to be live action Ahsoka at some point, but like I think Rosario Dawson's doing a great job, obviously, and it seems like they're on great terms and everything, and I just like, I don't know, it's cool to see that like as Ahsoka as a character is kind of rising in her like status and her kind of fame among like kind of in popular culture, that Ashley Eckstein still gets to kind of be a participant in that.
Yeah,
I think that's important as someone who originated the character and also like had to go through the process of finding the character and creating the character, and living through the harsh feedback from the early seasons of Ahsoka,
for sure,
where of the Clone Wars, where like people were initially not a fan of that character. So
I mean,
anyway.
it would be on par with like talking about, I don't know, like Anakin, and like if you ignored Hayden Christensen and only talked about Matt Lanter, right? Like Matt Lanter is the voice of Anakin. Like it'd be on par with like, because like they both, or like D. Bradley Baker versus Temuera Morrison, right? Like they're like they're all so important to those characters, and
exactly,
like you can't like just like, oh, like the baton is fully passed on to Rosario Dawson. Ashley, it's been great. See you later. No, like she's still like she is like Ahsoka, right? But so is Rosario Dawson.
Yeah. And I'm yes, it's taken me a while to. I'm still not fully used to like Rosario Dawson's voice instead of But like I think overall she's done a great job, and I'm hyped to see how it turns out in the full series with her, and how it turns out in live action Rebels season 5. And you talking about like Matt Lanter and D. Bradley Baker and everything, like for me, I think Matt Lanter is as much Anakin as Hayden Christensen is.
Oh, absolutely.
Like I think Matt Lanter and his the stories that we got in the performance that we got in Clone Wars added so much to Anakin as a character. And I think when they were like doing interviews about the Obi-Wan show, I think Hayden Christensen was like, I went back and I watched all of Clone Wars, and so like that, his performance has then kind of, their performances have influenced each other now, in that way. So that's cool.
I really like how much like Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor both appreciate what the Clone Wars did for Star Wars.
Yes.
Like it's really cool to like just see how their egos aren't threatened by other performances of their characters.
Yeah, by other performances, or like they're not dismissive of the fact that it's like a cartoon. You know?
Like it's all Star Wars. It's just the medium is changing. Like that's it.
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny. I saw, speaking of live action versus cartoon, someone was getting mad at Lars Mikkelsen for not like watching Rebels in preparation for Ahsoka. They're like you need to like know the source material, but like blah 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 blah. I'm like, dude, it's It's the same person.
He's in the source. Yeah.
Yeah, he is the source material. Calm down.
Yeah. I did see that. He was like, he like very intentionally said that he intentionally did not go back and rewatch Rebels. I didn't like read the full article that I saw of that, but like, yeah, that's interesting. Like,
yeah. And
I'm not an actor, so I don't know what the, you know, kind of what the motivations would be behind that, or have like enough knowledge or understanding to form a solid opinion about like what I would think about that. But I'm pretty confident that he's going to do a good job because it's Lars Mikkelsen. Like,
yeah, he did a great job in Rebels. I'm sure he'll do a great job in Ahsoka.
Yes. So man.
It
Can't believe
was just
we're getting live action Thrawn, dude.
I know.
We're getting Thrawn in live action.
Yeah. It was just so funny to see online bros being too online and getting mad about stupid things. It's always fun to watch that.
What?
It's funny.
Online bros getting mad about things?
Never.
That they shouldn't be mad about?
Never.
Never.
Well. Oh, man. Yep. So fun. One other thing that we should mention before we move on to our main segment is Ray Stevenson passed away.
Yeah.
Jack, who's Ray Stevenson, for those who don't know? Yeah,
Ray Stevenson. So if you're familiar with like the Clone Wars or Rebels, you'll be familiar with his work. He was the voice of Gar Saxon in Rebels and Clone Wars, and he also is going to be Baylan Skoll, one of the villains in Ahsoka. So he's going to be in live action in Star Wars pretty soon as well. But he recently died at age 58. I don't think they revealed a cause of death or anything, at least as far as I could tell. But
I haven't seen anything.
It's a loss, definitely. I looked up a little more about him, and he looks like he was also in RRR, the Bollywood movie that was nominated for a bunch of Oscars last year. And
yeah, it looked like a lot of fun.
I still need to see that. Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but like all the performances they did at the Oscars looked like so much fun.
So fun. Yeah. So he was apparently like the villain in that, and then he also in the Thor movies, he's Volstagg, one of the Warriors 3. So,
oh, like the first Thor, like the kind of like trio that follows Thor around.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. With Lady Sif and one other person, right?
Yeah, Lady Sif and Volstagg and other person who was one person, and then he was Zachary Levi, and they killed him off immediately.
Yeah.
Did you know that there was I can't remember the character's name, but the other of the Warriors 3 was played by one guy in the first Thor movie, and then when they brought them back for Thor Ragnarok, they recast Zachary Levi in the role for whatever reason, and then he's in it for 2 minutes, and then they kill him.
Oh man,
he's just dead.
Oh no.
And I find that kind of funny that Zachary Levi got his one chance in the MCU and it's over.
Oops.
He's Shazam. He's in DC.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
He's fine.
He'll be fine.
Yeah. By the way, I just rewatched the Ahsoka trailer, and apparently the Inquisitor's in that trailer also.
Oh really?
But yeah.
Oh, everyone today was acting like it was brand new.
Well, I mean, it's like we didn't get a very good look at them.
Oh.
So we couldn't we just
kind of more
needed
of a backgroundy thing.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, it was like a wide shot. And, yeah, so, we got a detailed look at this Inquisitor. It's like, oh, we now know it's an Inquisitor that we haven't seen before. So
got it.
You know,
some people are thinking it's the Inquisitor from Rebels when Ezra meets Maul, and it's one of the ones that flies in with the helicopter-y lightsaber. Mm-hmm. Some people think it might be that one. Other people I've heard think it might be Barriss Sophie. Because Barriss, we don't have any confirmation that Barriss is dead.
True.
Although the last time we saw her was the end of Clone Wars season 5.
Yeah. Although I think canonically, I mean, they could absolutely change this because I think it was a comic or a book or something. But I think Barriss, they confirmed in a canon story later that Barriss kind of got her redemption after a while. She became good again, basically. So
okay,
it's probably not her, but also it would be cool if it was her.
It would be cool. Yeah. I don't know. They did retcon E.K. Johnson's Ahsoka book with Tales of the Jedi.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's not out of the question. And also, I think Tales of the Jedi also retconned the Kanan comic series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the kind of how he like how Order 66 happened. It happens differently.
Okay. Got it. All right.
Anyway,
well,
what were we talking
about? We're getting ready to talk about Tales of the Jedi.
Indeed.
That's what we're doing. Any unfinished business from last week?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Good deal. All right, so this week's episode is Tales of the Jedi, episode 5, Practice Makes Perfect. And so when looking at where this takes place in the timeline, it's kind of tricky. So it starts off in the timeline that we're working with in Unlimited Content. In the Unlimited Content cinematic universe, it falls in line chronologically. But there are 2 time jumps, like flash forwards, during this. So there's one from 22 BBY, where we're at in the timeline, to the middle of the Clone Wars. And another one in the final scene is during Order 66 from Season 7 of Clone Wars. So that's where this is in the timeline. It's a little more confusing than just a cut and dry episode of Clone Wars.
It's interesting because, we don't, it's rare that we get a Star Wars episode or whatever that has, time jumps in it.
Yeah, other than flashbacks.
Yes, sometimes we get flashbacks, but those are, usually framed as, memories or,
Yeah.
As opposed to, this is, it's an episode where the first part takes place here, and then it jumps ahead, and then it jumps ahead, It's not it's interesting, yeah.
Yeah. But when you're in an anthology series, you can do whatever you want.
You can do whatever the heck you want. Dave Filoni, I believe in you.
Yep.
In Dave Filoni, we trust.
Indeed. Except maybe less Order 66
hat.
And gratuitous Order 66 references and all that. But yeah, so there's no moral to this episode. There's no Admiral Wolf Yularen. I'm sorry. But there are plenty of fun Easter eggs that we can talk about while we're going through this. Indeed. So I'm very excited about this. So let's just jump into the plot summary. Jack, are you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so I love the first line of this summary from Wikipedia. At the Jedi Temple on Coruscant, Anakin Skywalker is late. That's the first line of the summary. I love it. He runs through the halls to a dojo where his Padawan, Ahsoka Tano, practices against training remotes under the supervision of Jedi Master Tara Sanubi. Other Jedi, including Obi-Wan Kenobi, are also present, and Obi-Wan sarcastically tells Anakin that he's right on time, meaning late. After Anakin arrives, Sanubi activates a ray shield around the center of the room, encasing Ahsoka, and as a set of new remotes designed to emulate battle droids surround her. Ahsoka is tested against the remotes, which she destroys quickly and easily. I like in this kind of first scene, what was kind of funny is it kind of felt like Fortnite with that kind of ray shield thing that's kind of slowly circling in on her. I was just it's Fortnite, but Jedi.
For a second when you said Fortnite, I was like, what in the world are you talking about? And then I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
It's just the storm in Fortnite. That's all it is. Jack, did you notice some fun background characters in this scene?
Yeah. Tara Sanubi. Yeah! Everybody's favorite. That guy always looks like he's got socks hanging off his head. That's what he looks like to me.
Yes.
Anyway, but no, in the sort of audience in the dojo, obviously we have a few Jedi Masters. I think it said Mace Windu was there, right?
Yeah, and Yoda's also there.
Yoda, I think Plo was there. Plo Koon
was there. And so all the important Jedi Masters in her life are in this room, which is kind of cool.
And and Anakin shows up, and Obi-Wan, obviously, and then also we get Depa Billaba and her Padawan,
Caleb Doom.
Yeah, which is a cool little moment.
Yeah, Caleb Doom, who we find out later in the timeline is Kanan Jarrus from Rebels. So little baby Kanan Jarrus, in his given name, Caleb Doom. He changes his name after Order 66. But yeah, we get to see
that was
little
cool.
Baby Kanan.
Yeah, and it's also a cool moment where Ahsoka is she's kicking ass. She's doing really well at this test, and she does a flip and stuff and destroys all the droids easily. And then Caleb jumps up and pumps his fist, and he's like,
Oh yeah, like he was at a sporting event kind of thing. Like he's just like on his feet, amped.
Yeah,
as this like 7-year-old.
It was great. It was a great moment.
It was a great moment.
The other thing I want to kind of point out in this scene is like this is a really interesting episode in that we get essentially we get early Clone Wars era versions of these characters, but in the kind of the more like established and honed art style of like the later seasons of the Clone Wars. You know, it looks very, very nice. So we get to see like basically like very like nice polished versions of the character designs from early Clone Wars, which is neat and interesting.
Which when I watched this the first time, it threw me off because it was like the same like refined animation we see in Clone Wars season 7, and so my brain is automatically like, oh, this is Clone Wars season 7 time. I didn't notice the time jumps in like I didn't notice them really like when I was watching Tales of the Jedi for the first time. It wasn't until like honestly like today when I rewatched this episode and with the knowledge of where it fits in the timeline, I was like, oh, there really is a time jump. And like you pointed out to me last episode, kind of in preparing for this episode, that we see Ahsoka, like her outfit changes in every time jump as well, with like what she's wearing during that era. So she's kind of like wearing her like kind of a less I don't, for lack of a better word, skimpy version of what like her outfit that she wears in the Clone Wars movie, because she's kind of like just wearing like a tankini kind of thing in like the Clone Wars movie, and it's just kind of like a crop top kind of midriff thing going on. In the beginning
she wears like a sort of midriff bearing shirt in the first like season or two of the Clone Wars, and their outfit changes a little bit later. And this one we get kind of a it's almost like
somewhere in the middle,
sort of refined modernized version of that outfit. Almost we get it's a little bit of a character redesign there. But it still looks enough like her early outfits.
Like you can tell that it's like, oh, this is you can place it in the timeline, and also we see for other like contexts of how we can tell where this is. It's the hairstyling that Obi-Wan has is like straight out of Attack of the Clones. Like he's got a short blonder beard and long flowy hair. And Anakin's got it is his Jesus look, and Anakin's got his he's starting to grow his hair out from his Padawan like buzz cut, but like it's only just barely started growing out. So
yeah, it's really interesting to jump from last episode to this one, from like, you know, Clone Wars season 1 animation to this, where it's like it's the same character designs in the same era, but like so refined and like so much nicer looking. It's neat.
And we also see the clone trooper armor change throughout as well, right? So we get phase 1 clone trooper armor, which is just the white with, it's kind of got the little mohawk thing, like the, I don't know, like it's kind of like the Yondu from Guardians of the Galaxy, kind of like that little mohawk thingy. And then we get,
and also like kind of the chin part is a little like pointier.
It kind of juts out like a. Now I compare it to not Johnny Bravo, but the Crimson Chin.
The Crimson Chin.
Yeah, it's kind of more of a Crimson Chin look. And then we get to just kind of like middle to end of the Clone Wars in that part 2, where they have the 501st is painted blue now. It's not just Rex who's got blue, but it's like they all have blue, and he's got his distinctive markings on his helmet now.
Yeah, his talon marks,
Yeah. And then towards the end, in the final thing, you see all of the 501st with their helmets painted orange, but their guns pointed at Ahsoka. So, because it's sort of 66, and that's what happens.
It's such an interesting episode to kind of see out of context of like, you know, because this episode came out after Clone Wars season 7, and I think, you know, with the assumption that whoever's watching this has probably seen Clone Wars already, you know, and so we're kind of getting like in that context, this is sort of a flashback to that moment, and we get to see kind of just a little bit of an extra bit of a scene from Clone Wars season 7, almost like a little like deleted scene.
Yeah, like what happened right off camera, right before this other thing happened.
Yes, which was kind of cool. But in this context, it's like, it's almost a, like if you were watching this for the first time in order, it's like, A, you probably wouldn't know entirely what's going on in that scene.
Right.
But B, it's almost like a cool, like, kind of mysterious, like, hint of things to come. Like, Oh, how did she get in that situation? Like, what?
Yeah.
Well,
Huge
talk to you in
kind of
6
thing.
seasons.
Yeah.
But it's cool.
It is really, really cool.
Yeah. Anyway, do you want to...
let's not jump too far ahead. We've only read one paragraph of the plot summary, and we still got like 6 more.
Yeah.
All right, so afterwards, so we got the Fortnite Ray Shield thing. Moving on. Great.
Yes.
So afterwards, in the hallway, Ahsoka is not pleased that Anakin doesn't seem to be impressed by her results, on top of being late. She's pretty offended by that. Anakin admits that she's right. He isn't impressed because in his mind, the test is far too easy. He tells Ahsoka that he doesn't think she'll reach her full potential if she's only up against inferior remotes, and promises to arrange a proper test. And it's important to kind of note after this point that they both like storm off in opposite directions. Like they are like Ahsoka is like, I did everything I'm supposed to do. Why are you making this harder for me? And Anakin is not satisfied with the caliber of training that his Padawan is getting.
Yeah, so, it's interesting to see, like, I feel like in this episode we see a lot of similarities between Ahsoka and Anakin, in that they are both like inherently very like talented. They're very good at what they do. They're fast learners, and they're also both kind of cocky and kind of want to do things their own way. Very, very strong-headed individuals. Yes, exactly. And I thought it was also interesting that like I feel like most of the time in the Clone Wars and in the movies in general, like for Anakin, we don't really see him like working hard. We see him, we see like the results of his work. We see his like how talented he is and how he kind of breaks the rules sometimes, and you know, he's sort of cocky, and you know, he gives off the impression of somebody who's like, who might be sort of skating by on just his talents and kind of coasting. But I think this episode sort of demonstrates that like, no, this is like, he is like, he's talented, but also he works really hard, and it's important for him to like be good at things. You know, even if he you know, doesn't always follow the rules, he's still like he's he's determined, and he's a harsh teacher, and you know, in a loving way, but like, it's for sure. Yeah, a lot of the Clone Wars kind of gives the impression that Anakin is just the gifted kid who like doesn't need to try hard to succeed. Like he's just kind of a wonderkind, kind of, he's a chosen one, right? Like they kind of lean into that kind of like part of his character. But you're right, we don't see a lot of the training that goes on like in the background. Like we actually never really see any of Anakin's training. The only time we really get a glimpse of Anakin's training is flashbacks during Obi-Wan, like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. Honestly, that's weird, but that's the only like real training sequence we see of Anakin, because the rest of it is just him like seeing action. So which that's something interesting about, like, I would love it if they had either in a Tales of the Jedi season 2 or in like some other series of some kind. I want to see more of like of Anakin's like early training, like pre-Clone Wars, and also just like early Clone Wars stuff, like what happened when the war act like just started. Because I feel like, you know, in like the Clone Wars series that we get, like even like the earliest chronologically episodes, it's like clearly been a while, and they're used to like, okay, we're soldiers and we're generals, and we know how to command things around a battlefield, and you know, it's like, but obviously there must have been some sort of transition time between like being just like regular Jedi and then being soldiers. Right, yeah, like what happened between Geonosis and Clone Wars Season 1, right? Exactly. Like, like we don't see a lot of that. Like we're kind of like thrust in, like there's kind of like a 3-month gap, I feel like, where we don't know what's going on. Yeah, I would love that. All right. So Anakin promises to arrange her a proper test. But later, Ahsoka arrives at the military operations center aboard a gunship, only to be told by Anakin that she's late. He shows her into a large room. He says right on time. She's like, I thought I was late. And he's like, that's what I mean. That was a nice callback. He threw the exact line he got from Obi-Wan in the previous scene at his Padawan. I learned it from you, Dad. I learned it from you. So anyway, he shows her into a large room where Clone Captain Rex is waiting with several clone troopers from the 501st Legion. Anakin explains to Ahsoka that he wants her to be good enough to
hold out against Rex and the boys, because if she can do that, she can take anything the droids can throw at her. He adds that training against living opponents will be more difficult because they are less predictable than droids, so a key part of the training will be sensing who will fire first. The clones form a circle around Ahsoka, and she ignites her lightsaber. Ahsoka blocks the first stun shots, but is eventually taken out. She wakes up on the floor as Anakin reassures Rex that Ahsoka will be fine. Anakin tells her she's been unconscious for an hour, and that Jesse wanted to apologize for how hard he stunned her, which he does from across the room. The respite does not last long, however, as Anakin has another round start. The training session goes on for some time as Ahsoka is stunned again and again, and Anakin insists that she continue. At one point, Rex is not sure how much more Ahsoka can take and wonders if they should stop. By then, Ahsoka is waking up faster, and the session continues for a while. When this kind of like this like training montage scene kind of starts, all I was thinking was of the movie Miracle, like remember the scene movie? Yeah, the hockey movie where they are like, it's this kind of big, it's like a big turning point in the movie where the coach is having them run like suicide drills, like running back and forth, like skating across the ice at a full sprint, going back and forth, and he has them do it for hours until like they're all like, they're passing out, they're barfing, they're exhausted, and he keeps blowing the whistle and go again, blows the whistle again, and they run back and forth, and they're doing it until way after like the people who run the ice rink have already shut the lights off. Like the janitor says, like, you gonna lock up for me, like, and he's just like pushing him really hard and hard and hard, and it was from that like being pushed hard is kind of what kind of congeals the team into a cohesive team from a bunch of individual players. Because he would ask them after every time they would run, like, who are you? Who do you play for? And then I'll always say, like, so-and-so, University of Minnesota. So-and-so, University of North Dakota. Like, he would just kind of go up and back. And then, like, that towards, like, the final time, like, when he says that they can stop and go home, he goes, who do you play for? And he goes, I play for the United States of America, because he's exhausted.
That is the one moment I remember from that movie. It's a
fantastic movie. I love that movie so much.
It's been forever since I've seen it. I haven't thought about Miracle in forever.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Great movie. But that's what I was thinking this entire training montage is like, again, who do you play for? That, yeah. Again, who do you play for? Like, you know.
Who do you play for?
Who do you play for?
Ahsoka plays for the United States of America.
The Grand Army of the Republic.
This is a really cool sequence. And it's interesting to see how like he just kind of pushes her hard, and it's rough, but like it's interesting that like, I mean, I guess we'll get to it in a sec, but like there was one thing I wanted to say was this is something that I don't think I noticed until I saw this episode for the first time, but like, because we don't see it very often, but whenever a stun blast is blocked by a lightsaber, it like, you know, when you block like a regular like blaster bolt, it goes pew, and it like bounces away and there's like a flash. But when you're blocking a stun thing, and it's like one of those circles, it hits the lightsaber and kind of like falls apart like water, and it's just a cool effect that like
I hadn't noticed that before either.
The look of it was just cool because like I'd never seen so many like stun bolts being blocked over and over, and I was like, oh, this has a distinct look to it. That's cool. I just like the way that looks. That's all. You know.
Yep. It was really cool. It was a cool kind of visual effect. All right, moving on. We're almost done with the summary. So the training sessions continue on other days and in other places. Sometime later, after having built herself a Shoto lightsaber, which is her kind of distinctive. She's got her main lightsaber and like a shorter lightsaber. So she's got two lightsabers. She kind of becomes a dual wielder lightsaber. That's kind of her signature thing. Ahsoka trains against the 501st, who now wear the Phase 2 armor, which is their bluer armor, and it's kind of the more traditional kind of armor. So like if you think back to the Battlefront 2, like the original Battlefront 2, like from when the movies came out, that's the armor that's on the cover of that game. So that exact armor.
Gotcha. It's the rounder faced.
It's the rounder.
It looks a little more like Stormtrooper armor.
Yeah. Yep. So in a hangar bay of a Jedi cruiser, and yet again, as Anakin watches, Ahsoka held out against them for more than 5 minutes the last time, and employs acrobatic leaps and twists as she blocks more stun shots. The round ends with Rex stunning her, which I'll note, Rex was not in the circle of clones who were shooting at her. He just kind of surprises her, just to kind of...
Yeah.
I'm sure Anakin wanted the element of surprise, and so... Yeah, that's probably why Rex did that.
I can definitely imagine Ahsoka being like, what? That wasn't fair. He wasn't part of the... And Anakin's like, well, the enemy's not going to play fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep. All right, and then the final scene. So on board another Republic cruiser, Ahsoka and Rex walk down a hallway choked with smoke and sparks, signs of heavy damage. They stop outside a door. Rex puts on his helmet and says he hopes all of that training Ahsoka did will pay off. He raises one of his blaster pistols to her back, as if holding her prisoner, and she puts her hands up to her head, agreeing with him. The door opens, and the two of them walk into the hangar beyond, where Jesse and the troops of the 332nd Division wait. Which the 332nd Division is the division of clones that Ahsoka commands at the end of the Clone Wars. So they're the ones that they painted their helmets orange in her honor.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's a neat detail that I didn't realize. I guess because they all look the same in their armor, but apparently that's Jesse again, because we got Jesse earlier when he's the first person to like stun her, and now he's back at the end. That's kind of a cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting that this starts out by being like Anakin's like this test isn't good enough. Like I'll give you a better test, and then rather than this being like something that she conquers, it's an exercise that they run through for the entirety of the Clone Wars. It looks like, so it's kind of cool to see we get a sense of this is why Ahsoka is so good at what she does. Not just because she's talented, but because she's pushed hard and because she works hard and So it was just a cool episode. It was a cool sequence.
Oh yeah.
And then also they don't show this in the episode itself, but if you look at the initial Order 66 scene in season 7 of Clone Wars with Ahsoka, the kind of there's a scene where execute Order 66 happens and the clones start shooting at her, and she basically the way that she deflects all those bolts and the move she does and the kind of the jump and flip in the air thing is the same thing that she does in this episode. So we get she kind of uses the same moves. So it's
you beat me to it. That's what I was gonna say next. Yeah, it was a cool kind of call back to that, and also that she was standing on top of one of those hollow tables that they kind of and she's got clones surrounding her 360 degrees. So it's literally the exact thing she's been training for the entirety of the Clone Wars. Is what happens, how she survives Order 66, which is kind of cool.
Which is cool. This episode is basically about not just this, but it's about how it's an explanation for how Ahsoka was able to survive Order 66, despite the fact that other people didn't. Mm-hmm. It's because she's among the best because she worked hard and she trained for this.
Yeah, she trained for basically this exact scenario.
Yeah,
which is bonkers. Yeah, very lucky her. And also lucky that Rex had gotten rid of his inhibitor chip just before all of this happened.
Yeah. Wait, had he? No, they
got rid of it during that episode.
Yes, he resists for a bit, and then he's because I think because Rex realizes what's happening because of what Fives told them about.
That's right.
Fives was onto it.
Yep.
And so spoilers. He had an idea of what was going on. So yeah, spoilers for
those of you who haven't watched this thing that came out 3 years ago.
Yeah. This was a great episode.
I love
it's very it's a great short story, which is I guess that's what Tales of the Jedi is. It's just little short stories about bits of Star Wars, Clone Wars era stories that we don't really get to see, or we don't get to see all of. We get a little more of a perspective on things, and this was cool to see we get more of a sense of like, yeah, like this is why Ahsoka is so good. This is why she's among the best Jedi. Or I am no Jedi, whatever you want to call her.
Yeah. I am no man.
Yeah. What did you think of this episode?
Dude, I loved this episode. It like, I don't know, it kind of like Anakin comes across as pardon my language, but a douchebag in this episode. Just like he's just very arrogant and like, but like it comes like coming from a good place, but he's a butthole. Mm-hmm. Right? Like he's just like he's like super hard, and like he could have like been like there's a nicer way that he could have gone about it, but he's just like, and he doesn't like, it's clear that he doesn't explain a lot of his reasoning until like Ahsoka's about to reach her breaking point, and then he's like, you know this is why I'm doing this, right? And she's like, oh, okay, and that kind of like snaps her back into the training, and she's able to press forward further. But like Anakin comes across as super hard on her, probably like more harder on her than he needed to be initially, I think.
Yeah. I get that, but I think it definitely makes sense for Anakin's character because of like
it does.
The life that he comes from is a he grew up as a slave, and he grew up in a really, really, a situation where I'm sure he had to just kind of like learn things from an early age, or else right. It's like you either learn or you fail. You learn or you get hurt.
He learned no mercy from an early age, except from his mother. So yeah.
Who's dead now? So
sad.
Rip.
Yeah, but that doesn't have any long-lasting consequences on anything. No.
No.
Yeah, Anakin saw
trauma
a therapist
in Star Wars.
Anakin saw a therapist, and he lives happily ever after now with his twin children.
Do you think they have therapists in Star Wars? I feel like probably not. I feel like
no. I mean, Star Wars, especially prequel Star Wars, smacks so much of like religious trauma and like cult behavior. There's no way any therapists exist, at least within the Jedi Order.
Yeah, it's very much like
I bet like the senators and like the higher ups in society like can get those who like aren't Jedi can get something equivalent to therapists. Maybe, I don't know, but like the Jedi, no, you talk to Jedi Masters and they tell you to offer it up and grin and bear it, and you're gonna be fine. It's the will of the Force.
Yeah, bear your cross.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
It's very like going to confession is not the same thing as going to therapy. That kind of thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
Not for a Jedi.
Not for a Jedi.
Yep. So
right.
No. That this whole Star Wars would be so much simpler, probably less fun if Anakin got therapy. That's
I feel like you could say that about a lot of stories. Like if people just like talked to each other and got therapy. Yeah. But all right. Well, what was your favorite part of this episode, Sam?
My favorite part of this episode, honestly, is the reveal at the end, the Order 6016, of just like, of kind of seeing like, oh, that's what this was for. Like that's why, because like the way the Force works, like from what I've heard and read and things, is just like the Force is always like working towards balance and like setting the table for like to eventually become balanced. That's why like the Chosen One's a thing. But that's also like probably why Ahsoka was able to survive Order 66, is because balance needed to happen somewhere down the line. And the rebellion wouldn't have succeeded if it weren't for Ahsoka being Fulcrum and doing a lot of that stuff. So much wouldn't have happened if Ahsoka doesn't survive. Ahsoka's like just as pivotal as Anakin Skywalker is in the whole schema of like this 60-year span of the Force. So yeah, I think it's just, I forget where I was going with this, but it's just kind of like that awareness of like, oh, like this is this is how, like, we know why she survives, but this is how, you know. So I love that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think. I mean, I agree with that. I think my, like, weirdly, my favorite part of this episode, I think, was just like the beginning where we get to see like younger versions of these characters in this style. It's like, oh, it's like a bit of like a flashback, a bit of sort of nostalgia of like, it's remember early days of the Clone Wars? Yeah. It's like this. You know, it's one of those things where like, you know, when you play like a super old video game and then you come back to it later and it's like, oh man, this is a lot uglier than I remember it looking. This is like, you know, going back to it and it looking the way you remembered it looking is sort of like, you know, it's like, you know, this is the way I remember the Clone Wars looking initially.
This is how I felt when I watched it the first time.
Yes. Yeah. And it was just cool to see like kind of their early looks recreated in the sort of modern, more refined style. Yeah. Just a visually gorgeous episode too. Lots of great really lighting and it's excellent.
Yeah, a lot of visual storytelling, just from like the cues of like, just like to give you context of time, like where things are in time, just with the like the use of character design and set design in this episode, just without saying that we've made a jump, you just know like, oh, this is later on because the clone troopers are wearing like the next generation armor. Ahsoka's got a different outfit on. She has her second lightsaber, right? Like Anakin's got slightly longer hair. He looks like his eyes are more sunken. Like he looks angrier because he's been hanging out with Palpatine too much.
Yeah, man, that guy's trouble. That Palpatine.
Yeah, somebody should do something about him.
And also I liked the fact that like one thing I noticed was in the first like flash forward. You know, it cuts to Ahsoka waking up again, but like in the next time period, and it starts on a close up of her face, and her face like looks different. It looks a little more like kind of older and more mature. So like even from that level, it's like
because like she's definitely like in the first scene, she definitely has like the cartoonishly big eyes that she has as a little kid or as a younger character, and then it's kind of more to like the Ahsoka we see in season 7.
She's got adult proportions.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, you're not 12. Got
it. Yeah.
But yeah, how old is Ahsoka in this
question?
She is born in, let's see, it would be Life and Death. We don't have. There's not a.
We don't know how old she is. I guess. I don't know. It's a good question.
Depending on when it happens, she's at least 12. Because it happens before Phantom Menace, and that's 10 years before Attack of the Clones.
So she's at least 10.
Yeah, but she aged the year in Life and Death. So we see her born, and then a year later, that's when she and her mom go out on the hunt. Right, so it's on her first birthday is when they go out on the hunt. So she's at least 11. Probably like 14. And then like by the end of the Clone Wars, she's like 17. Because the Clone Wars end 19 BBY? Yeah. Revenge of the Sith takes place 19 BBY.
Yeah, I'm looking at the continuity section on this episode on Wikipedia and just kind of looking at there's a bunch of like little things about like this detail isn't, you know, there's a lot of like, I feel like in Tales of the Jedi in particular, there's a bunch of like kind of continuity breaking things a little bit. Like they care less about the exact details and more about like the spirit of it and the feel. Like, does this feel right? But like, for example, there's like, if this takes place when it's supposed to take place, like by this point, Obi-Wan should have a different hairstyle. Like, because like in earlier episodes we've seen him and he no longer has his Attack of the Clones. Like,
that's right.
You know.
Yeah, he kind of he has his Revenge of the Sith look for the entirety of the Clone Wars.
Yeah, basically. More or less.
Like it's more shortcut, but except that one episode where he's bald.
Indeed. When he's bald and also looks like a different person.
Yeah, because he shaves his beard and his head.
Yeah. No. He gets like facial surgery for that one episode.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
He goes undercover and just looks like a different person.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's a weird episode. Really weird episode.
It's a fun episode. I like
fun.
that. It's weird.
But anyway, we'll get to it.
It's the Obi-Wan fakes his death episode.
Yes.
Fun
Spoilers.
times.
Spoilers.
Anyway. Oh yeah, spoilers. Obi-Wan doesn't actually die during the Clone Wars.
What?
I'm sorry if you didn't know that, audience. It's not like he dies in the most famous movie ever made.
No.
All right. Main character kill count. There's no kills in this episode.
No kills. No Wilhelm screams. You know, it's funny. I feel like a Wilhelm scream would have been appropriate for this episode, given the tone.
Yeah, she gets stunned for the first time. And she goes,
yeah, Ahsoka does a Wilhelm scream.
Incredible.
It'll be hilarious. Obviously, MVP is Ahsoka, right?
Yeah, I mean, it can't really be anybody else. Like, or
Gigi.
or Jesse. Jesse is MVP for knocking out Ahsoka.
You know what? Jesse's gonna be the cover art. It's Jesse.
Excellent. It's just that shot of him like in the background being like, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, no, Ahsoka, MVP. This is her episode.
Yeah. I want it to be Jesse. It'll be Ahsoka. It's Ahsoka. Fine. Yeah. I'm gonna sneak Jesse in there somewhere.
Excellent.
Maybe.
Like tiny in the background, like far away.
assuming I remember to put that in there. So dear listener, check and see if I did it, and if not, ridicule me. Or don't. Be nice.
Make up your mind, Sam. Do you want ridicule or not?
No, maybe. I don't know. It's fun. All right. Yep. So we've beat to death how this makes Star Wars better. Star Wars. It's such a good episode. It does so much for the lore and for our understanding of the depth of the characters and how the Force works and all that stuff. Yeah. Well, Jack. Yeah. Anything else? Any final thoughts? What are we talking about next week? That's a lot of questions.
Next week we're talking about the Clone Wars Season 3, Episode 3, Supply Lines. This episode of Tales of the Jedi was the last thing, the last non-Clone Wars thing that we're going to watch for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think the next thing that we watch that isn't Clone Wars will be in like 60 of these podcast episodes when we watch Revenge of the Sith, I think.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. There's no other Tales of the Jedi stuff that takes place during... Like, our next Tales of the Jedi is gonna be, like...
It's post Order 66, right?
It's post Order 66. It's the retcon of the Ahsoka novel by E.K. Johnston.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only... We'll get to it when we get to it, but that was the only Tales of the Jedi episode I was really disappointed in. Because I love the novel. The novel's so good, and it just it takes kind of sort of the broad strokes of the novel, but condenses it down to 15 minutes and changes it to fit more of a 15-minute thing. So I'm like, the novel's better. Yeah. Dave Filoni, what were you doing?
There's unfortunately a sort of hierarchy of canon where it's like, not just in Star Wars, but like in Marvel, it's like the movies get precedence over the TV shows, which get precedence over the spin-off comics or whatever.
Right.
It's like they're off the comics and books are often treated as if the creators are not beholden to stick to those if they don't want to, which is
right. Yours. Yeah. We're following your direction. You're not necessarily obviously there's some parameters, but detail-y kind of things you can kind of do what you want.
Sam has a cat in his lap now.
I do have a cat in my lap. So if you heard meowing and chirping, format. It's because my cat Godiva is greedy for attention. She can't hear you. I have headphones on.
That wasn't for her. It was for me.
Oh. I don't know how I feel about that. On that
note. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Yeah.
We will talk to you guys next time.
Yeah. Gigi, do you have anything to say? She's
She's choosing to be very silent.
She is. For once.
Right?
We call her a pair of lungs. She never shuts up. Covered in cat hair now. Love that. That's what I get. All right, Jack. It's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun.
It's been all three of those things. I agree.
All three of those things.
All right. Well, see you around.
Yep.
It's been a good time. We're going to watch more Star Wars and talk more about Star Wars later, because that's what we do here.
And probably Zelda as well.
Yeah, honestly.
Probably Zelda.
It's never going to stop. Unlimited content, unlimited Zelda.
And maybe Star Trek.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
All right, cut the chatter. Roger, Roger.